is up, folks? You're listening to Fur's greatest podcast in the world. I am your stand-in host, Acharky. Cord is out on vacation, doing vacation stuffs. Joining me is Wusky.
Hello.
And after him, we've got Dax.
Hi, I'm Daxy. I like pizza. And I write.
We also have Raven Kitty with us. Wow. And finally, we've got Shock up in this motherfucking house.
What's up, my boys and girl?
Yeah. Alright. So, as I said, not all of us have, our usual topics and whatever, but hey, we're doing this shit. So, probably one of the big things I want to talk about is, so at the time of this recording, so the big thing on my mind currently is the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Because I'm sure, because I think it's pretty clear to see who every furry has their favorite character that they're rooting for at the moment.
Oh yeah, but even more than furries, everybody's excited about Rocket Raccoon.
I forgot who they got to do the voice of the raccoon. I know
Bradley.
it was a good voice actor. I forgot who it was.
It is Bradley Cooper, and he's known mostly for his roles in the Hangover films, as well as he played Face in the A-Team movie. There's a couple of other roles that I can't think of offhand, but the Hangover movies are the ones that come to mind the most.
Another thing that I'm really excited about the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I used to be a huge fan of WWE when I was younger, and I'm really excited to see Dave Bautista in this movie. I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it's funny because it's like, some wrestlers can act, some can't. And from what I have seen so far, Dave Bautista seems alright. So far they've released, they've actually have a clip out right now where it's like a minute or so of them talking about how they're planning to stop Ronan. And it's really funny how Dave Bautista as Drax, he's kind of arguing with them. And he's like, hey, I saved Quill. And then, Chris Pratt, he kind of looks at him and says, I think we've already established that destroying my ship with me on it isn't saving me. And Drax just goes, oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking of something else. Really casually. I thought that was great. But,
it seems pretty good.
Yeah. So one thing I'm kind of curious, if any of you have seen, some of the stuff of all of, the promotional material for the movie. Any thoughts on Rocket so far?
Someone made a fursuit of him.
I'm not surprised.
Have you seen the Halloween costumes of them?
No, I have not. Akanite, welcome, special guest, awesome.
Yes, we were just in the middle of talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, have you seen any kind of the promotional material, clips, pictures, or otherwise about this movie yet?
Oh, yes, I have. Seen a whole bunch of them, and, let's just say I'm very, very stoked to see the movie, but I'm a little bit worried because I'm afraid that they may butcher the comics, maybe. It all depends, really.
Well, let's face it. They don't make these movies for the comic reading audience. They make it for a much broader horizon of people, so it's probably not going to be too faithful.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy was something that was known to be kind of obscure, and considering the backstories of some of the characters, they've really already taken some liberties with some of the characters like Star-Lord and, some of the other things that are going on in it. And it's this kind of problem of you've got at least 2 hours, sometimes 2.5, depending on your running time, of, trying to tell a decent story with a good pace. And, sometimes you have to end up taking liberties with that. And taking liberties is fine as long as you're kind of holding up to what these characters are supposed to be like, and that you are telling a story that makes sense, yada yada, because we've all seen what happens when you try to press too much into a movie that may not be long enough to handle it. That's
King Kong.
King Kong is what came to my mind, too.
I was thinking...
I started watching King Kong when I was 8. I just finished it yesterday.
I heard that joke. I watched I Love the 2000s. I should be ashamed.
Actually, another movie too that you could also add to that list is the Silent Hill Revelations one.
Oh God, I had the unfortunate event of seeing that on opening day. I'm a huge Silent Hill fan of the games and the first movie, and you had no idea how angry I was with that film after I saw it on opening night. So pissed off. They had a forced relationship in it and everything. It was disgustingly bad.
Yeah, I cannot give a shit for any of the Silent Hill movies. None of them. I
can respect that opinion. I mean, the first one, I bet we can at least agree on this. The first Silent Hill movie was the best video game adaptation for a film, but that's not saying much.
No.
Since we're talking about, like, just an idea I had, since we're talking about movies based on horror games, why not Amnesia?
Because I think that would lose a lot in the translation, to be honest with you, because
a lot of the horror... Sorry, you keep going.
No, well, I think you and I probably have the same idea, where a lot of the horror comes from the fact that...
From the gameplay.
Yes, that you are in this guy's shoes, that you are the one that is experiencing this firsthand. So, making
Unless you have the film in first-person perspective, probably not going to work.
Cool. Like, if they could actually do that and pull it off right, that would be really badass.
I doubt it. There's just such a big disconnect. It's just one of those things where games are games, movies and movies, and sometimes you just cannot combine the two. And, you know, I'm just kind of a firm believer of kind of keeping some of those things, you know, separate, because what works in one medium does not translate well into another.
Sure, and then, but when you think of...
You go ahead.
Okay. It's just that when you think about it, with Hollywood itself, they can't, how can I put it? They don't really have the time to sit through, play an entire video game just to see if they could get a script out. So instead of taking something like, for an example, let's just say, actually, you know what? I'm going to use a good example. They used, when they made the movie Final Fantasy Advent Children, they basically didn't want to play through, like, what was it, a 2-disc set, pretty much. They just basically took the key points and started rewriting the whole entire script that was actually for it, and completely put it into one jumbled movie that had no plot point, no climax, no nothing. It was just a running story, flashing pictures. That's all it was, really.
It was a very visual movie, I'll give it that, but nothing too... stimulating on the story side.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's not always easy to do. So,
and then there's movies that are like, you have the Uncharted movie coming out soon, and sure, that could be done as a film. But my only argument is, why should it be? The game itself is already so full of story as it is.
Yep. I feel like I really don't need to see an Uncharted movie, because in all honesty, when you look at it, it was just this homage to stuff like Indiana Jones and the like, so that's really how this is going to be looked at. It's going to be like a modern day kind of Indiana Jones, I don't want to say knockoff, but it's going to be very similar to that, and it's going to get compared to that very heavily. So
it's mostly going to get compared to Tomb Raider, actually.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just the games.
Just a question. What are you guys' thoughts on the God of War movie with not Bruce Willis, but Vin Diesel as Kratos?
That's happening?
That's happening. It's in the works right now. It's taking them fucking forever, but they're going to do it.
I was going to say, I didn't think that was even still a thing anymore.
I thought that was just a teaser thing to joke around.
No, that's an actual thing. They're filming it right now. It's at the same time as Uncharted.
I don't know. I mean, that's one of those things where I just wait to see what they end up doing, but it's kind of the same argument I have for Uncharted, to where it's like, why do I need to see this movie? I've played these games and I've experienced the story. I don't think it's really going to be any better than that. What would be...
My question is... are they going to base it off an individual God of War game in the series? Because if they base it off like the first one, just the first one, okay? The first one was good. The first one had good storyline that could be turned into a movie It may take a while to do and to able like compress the crucial parts in it because there are a lot of like just walking on and just doing whatever. But if they take the crucial parts in God of War 1, they could really make it. But if they try to take all three of them and just smash them together, it's gonna blow.
They're gonna do neither of those. Z. What they're gonna do is they're gonna combine them and like do some. They're gonna do like this mashup of mayhem of generic plot lines from other movies.
Probably.
Yeah, I could see that being easily done because that's something Hollywood knows how to do. But yeah, it's one of those things to where you would think that it's kind of risky to want to create a trilogy right off the bat, because a lot of stuff like this, they'd probably want to make one movie, see how well it does, and if it sells okay, then they can make another one. If not, they just move on. So, I don't know.
I just want
One
to see how it
thing-
turns out, really.
Akanite, you were saying.
Okay, sorry. The one thing though that you mentioned that really that's really gonna butcher this movie is the actor that they have playing for this, Vin Diesel as Kratos. Oh God, no!
It's like really like the only similarity is like he's in really good shape and he's bald, and it's like
I was just about to say that. And
Like,
Vin Diesel
and they're-
gets typecasted just like The Rock does. If you're buff, then you
Yeah.
get in a movie.
yeah, it's like
I
thing,
think they actually can do it right. Like, if they can get the effects right with them, like with the skin and everything like that, if they can do it right, which I'm sure by some miracle of an unknown force or what the fuck ever, they might just be able to pull this off. It is in the air right now of how it's going to turn out, but I've got high hopes for this movie because, first of all, I am a God of War fanboy, and when I found out that they were going to try and make a movie of it, I freaking was so freaked out I did the Harlem Shake for 60 solid seconds.
Back when the Harlem Shake was a thing.
No, this was before the Harlem Shake was a thing.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I honestly, like, as much as I enjoy the God of War series, I'm pretty much ambivalent towards it. If it does okay, then it's like, well, that's a pleasant surprise. If it bombs, then it's like, well, no reason to care about this. So, I don't know.
yeah, exactly. To be honest, I only played 20 minutes of the God of War games.
Shame
I
on you.
watched somebody play 20 minutes of the God of War games.
And all you look is like, wow, this is a gruesome game.
But to kind of rope this in a bit, I want to get back to Guardians of the Galaxy, because Rocket Raccoon.
I have a question about Guardians of the Galaxy for
Yes.
you guys. Okay, well, I learned recently that they released like the first 17 minutes of the movie. Is that what it was?
I have
believe
no
it was
idea.
the first 17 minutes, or at least 17 minutes in the film. That is way too much of a sneak peek. Like, do they have any faith in this movie?
I don't. Well, I'd want to say that they do, considering the fact that one of the other pieces of news that kind of came out of San Diego Comic-Con was, I guess they want to have an animated series based on Guardians of the Galaxy, which would be
great.
Which would be on like one of the Disney channels. I mean, this seems like something that's already up Disney's alley of like, oh, you got a talking animal, dude? Okay, sure, do that up. Just
Apparently, all the furries should have the Disney logo stamped on the left ass cheek.
We're a bit slaves to them, yeah.
They're being sold to Disney.
oh man.
I would actually watch the Disney Channel again if they had a solid, hilarious Guardians of the Galaxy show. I would do that.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. It's not really clear what that's going to be like. But although, again, this isn't going to be the only Guardians of the Galaxy movie we get. Marvel basically already came out and said they're going to have James Gunn do another one.
Oh, well, I hope I like the first one then.
Same here.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
seems
the
like there'll
first
be
one
some
looks-
interesting stuff.
The first one looks badass anyway. Just by seeing some of the trailers, I'm like when I saw the raccoon on the one, like Rocket, I believe his name is.
Yes.
You mentioned when I saw Rocket on the one guy's back, just lighting up with that machine gun. I swear, my eyeballs got 20% cooler because of that.
And, like we had mentioned Vin Diesel earlier, he is the voice of Groot, who is the big tree alien dude.
Love Groot. Well, he's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not so sure how I feel about the other characters, though. I like the human guy. Yeah, I haven't memorized their names, but the human character.
That is Star-Lord, as played by Chris Pratt.
Okay, Chris Pratt, lovely, lovely character for this type of movie. I think the humor, especially, is something unique with this film. So I think the characters could be strong for it. I'm just not sure how I'm gonna dig the type of sci-fi or the universe that they have here. I don't know.
It is kind of interesting because the fact that they're getting into like the galactic elements of the Marvel universe, that's basically where Marvel becomes batshit insane with all of the crazy crap that got made during like the 60s, 70s, and like just off the wall shit of like a living planet and dudes who are just called the gardener and like these elementals and stuff like they collect. And by the way, that was one of my favorite things of all of the like different cookies they've had at the end of the Marvel movies. My favorite one so far had to have been the one at the end of Thor the sequel to Thor.
Like, do you want us?
With Benicio del Toro as the Collector. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Not really.
Nah, man.
Movie, I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I'm the
I
average
dropped.
moviegoer. I'm not a huge diehard Marvel guy. I just see movies.
I just see movies that look cool. I say, ooh, shiny. I'd love to see it. Like I have the husky attention span.
That's why you're going to see Sharknado 2, the second one.
Exactly. I am, like, me and my dad watch Sci-Fi Channel all the time, so of course we're going to watch it at one point, and I'm probably going to laugh my ass off at it, but I'm just going to watch it for the humor value.
Okay, Ak and I had to step away for a minute, so he'll be back whenever, hopefully.
I will welcome him back with joy.
Yeah, but as I said, at the time of this recording, none of us have seen Guardians. It hasn't come out yet. It's going to be out.
We haven't seen Sharknado 2.
No.
Don't know how that'll be.
So since you bring that up, I was at a Subway the other day, and they've got, like, promotional material for Sharknado 2.
They do?
And I'm looking
I gotta go to Subway.
I'm looking at that, and I guess the full title of the movie is simply called, and I kid you not, Sharknado 2,
the
second one. Like, that's the subtitle.
Wow.
Like,
that's their way of being ridiculous.
I mean, I give them props.
Redundancy department, a redundancy to make that title display.
I admire the redundancy to it, but the only thing I'm skeptical about with this whole thing is they're forcing a bad movie now. Like, the first one was good because it was kind of an accident. Like, they didn't know. But
no,
this one...
The reason why Sci-Fi's made that is because they have a reputation of making just ridiculous, off-the-wall movies.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that, Z. But most of them don't become successful.
Humor. That's why it's called, the second one. It's not meant to be redundant. It's meant to have that humor through redundancy. So that's why I'm not going to watch it for the entertainment value. I'm just going to watch it just so I can laugh at it and say how much of a bad movie it was.
But that is entertainment. That is a form of entertainment.
I think
I hope that it can capture that.
It's one of those things where movies that kind of happen like this by accident, you can't try to make stuff like this happen. It just
Lightning
does.
Doesn't strike twice. No,
it
doesn't strike twice.
It just does. It's like, it's like if Tommy Wiseau tried to make something funnier than The Room. He's not going to do that.
Exactly.
You can't try.
If they had The Room 2, everyone would hate it and actually hate it.
Yeah, because you can't do that on purpose. It's one of those lightning in a bottle things of like everything just kind of lined up and it turned out that way.
The closest they could have done to making a really good franchise out of this, though, was if they went with the suggestions of the fans and made Sharkalanche and Sharkano and Sharkquake and just did all of that.
I think it probably...
I don't want to see Sharkquake team up with Dairy Queen. I want to see what that blizzard is like.
Oh, man.
Oh, Shark Blizzard. I'm interested.
Oh, God.
See, those are all cool ideas, and I think it's I find it disappointing that the second Sharknado is just another Sharknado. That's pretty lame.
I didn't even get the point of the first one, so...
There's a tornado and it's got sharks in it.
Well, yeah, I get that, but...
It's just
That's all you need to get. That's all that can be gotten. Crickets.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like trying to pull off unintentional humor.
Trying too hard.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're trying too hard at that point. It's like, it's one of the reasons why I thought the last Twilight movie was so fucking hilarious, because these people
that was
knew
everybody's favorite. The last Twilight movie.
Yeah, they knew what they had on their hands. They knew it was stupid, but they ran with it.
They knew that tons of boyfriends were going to be stuck to sit through that movie, so they said,
Yeah.
we might as well make them enjoy it a little more.
I guess, but to me, it was just that they looked at the source material, they knew it sucked, but people have poured tons of money into making this already, so it's like, let's just get this out there and see what happens.
Get it
But
over
at the same
with.
time, it wasn't like they were lazy. They took it 100% serious, and they did what they needed to do. They put their best into it, and it was one of the best unintentional comedies I saw that year. It was...
You know what really angers me about Twilight, though? I mean, I'm mostly indifferent about Twilight. I saw the first movie. I thought it was laughably terrible, but they made me mad when they pulled a Harry Potter, and they were like, oh, well, Harry Potter did it, so we can split our last movie into 2 films.
That seems like every movie trilogy now.
I think it's mostly because it's marketing's way of, if we can squeeze another film out of this and make some more
That's
money.
exactly what it was, and
Yeah.
that's what pissed me off. They did it just to make money. Harry Potter didn't do it to make money. They did it because that was a 776-page book, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there was
That's a lot of information. It was
I'm pretty
crucial.
sure there was a lot of stuff that, like, J.K. Rowling basically felt like she didn't want any of that stuff missed out. So, but yeah, with, like, Twilight, I totally agree. There's probably a lot of bullshit that you could have cut to where this could have been in one movie instead of 2. It's kind of the same thing with the Hunger Games right now, to where, like,
I like the Hunger Games. Like, I enjoyed that first movie, but it's also bull crap on their part that they're doing a Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, because that book is even shorter than Breaking Dawn.
Oh, yeah. I mean, although I will say, I don't think it was wrong for Peter Jackson to split up The Hobbit into 3 movies.
No. That was kind of ingenious, really, because he basically pulled a bit of a George Lucas, and he was like, well, we could do this one thing in one movie, or I could make an entire trilogy. That was smart.
And to be, I know The Hobbit was like a children's novel, but it's something that kind of worked to where there was enough material there to where you could stretch this out into 3 films.
But for a book as short as The Hobbit was, it was like a quarter of the rest of the Lord of the Rings books. For a movie as short as The Hobbit was, I'm surprised they were able to get 3 movies out of it without having to juice a bunch of bullshit out of it.
Yeah, because
they did juice it. It's just that it was good juice, apparently.
Yeah, there was some stuff in there that, people were fucking enthralled by, like the conversation that Bilbo has with Smaug, and
And then you had that Ed Sheeran song, or Sheeran, or however you pronounce his name. And everybody went crazy over that.
I have no idea. Man, this has been messed up. We've gone from Guardians, we've gone to this, we've gone to Sharknado, all this crazy crap.
Raven, she's getting completely neglected because she's not really all about the entertainment. I feel so bad for you, Raven.
Okay,
No,
one more thing.
It's just I have something to say. I would say it.
Okay. Since we brought up the Hunger Games, I have to say this for the people that don't know it. For everyone attending Furry Weekend Atlanta 2015, I have a really cool fact about the Marriott Marquis Atlanta.
Oh.
For all those who saw the first Hunger Games, the hotel that was featured in the first Hunger Games movie was the Marriott Marquis Atlanta.
Huh.
I've been to the Marriott before. It was pretty awesome.
Unfortunately, I had actually a performance lined up with Nice the Singing Dog. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it. I apologize for anyone who follows me on Twitter who saw that. and is kind of disappointed for that. I apologize. I'll try to make it for Anthrocon. I'm not entirely sure, but just to clear that up, I'm really sorry. There's just been some health issues with my adopted father, and it's just not going to work out this year. So I hope to see you all at AC.
I forgive you.
Hey, I'll get to see Wusky at AC next year.
Yay, so will I.
Woo! Okay, so to kind of move this along a bit, so Raven, I gotta ask, like, anything on your mind currently that has you in thought?
Conduct rules.
To be quite honest, yes, there has been something that has been kept me in thought ever since Friday, and that was the new policy changes to FA we were discussing earlier before this podcast started, especially about the do not flood policies and the basically anti-vor policy about no animal can be eating another animal.
Really?
So I thought about I thought about it, and I look at it this way. If you're going to limit artwork, you're kind of going counterproductive of what an art site is.
Yep.
Especially since, I mean, FA was basically founded because of the fact that there was some stuff that wasn't allowed on DeviantArt, and that's why FA got started. Because it's like, well, you want to do that shit? You could totally come here. But this almost kind of goes back all the way to the whole Cub thing that happened like a few years ago, if any of you remember that.
Yeah.
But at least the Cub, I'll give them the Cub. That was understandable. That treads territory that you shouldn't cross.
Yeah.
But with Vor, it's a strange fetish. So what? You know? Like,
I do.
That's it.
I think I should make it clear that no one on this encourages pedophilia at all.
Yeah.
No peds.
No,
No peds.
but-
Yeah.
No pedophilia, and we do not encourage anybody to eat anybody else or any other animal unless it's made for food. So you enjoy your burger or whatever you're enjoying during the podcast in good health.
Life tastes better at KFC.
But there was some times where, like Sonic Art got banned because, like, the characters were considered to be teenagers and they were thinking that was super wrong. So, it was one of those things where it's like, you know, people were kind of wondering what kind of slippery slope this is going to go down. And you almost kind of feel like the Vor thing is part of that slope.
Well, I proposed to pose the question on the actual Fender's Journal when it was released on Friday. So you're pretty much telling us that if a FA user, being a photographer or not, decides to go to a local zoo or SeaWorld or something of that kin, snaps a picture of, let's say, a seal giving a performance and eating a fish, that's still an animal eating another once alive animal or previously frozen animal, and that's not allowed. So are we just talking about photography, or are we just going to basically say that this is just going to infect all art and you're going to be anti-vor? I'm not exactly sure because these policies are in its infancy. I am not in a position to really comment, but I can speculate.
I thought it was in the reverse initially. I thought they were just going against footage of, say, a lion going out on the prowl and devouring an antelope or a gazelle, and that was the sort of thing they were against because it was too gory.
Okay, I understand that Vor has a time and a place for a certain audience, but if it can be seen on the Discovery Channel or a Learning Channel or the news, why is it now all of a sudden going against the code of conduct of FA?
Yeah,
what prompted this change? I'm curious.
It was silly.
It's this thing that the leadership behind these policy changes, they have to take the time to make it perfectly clear what is okay and what is not okay. And that's really the hard thing to do because especially when you have to start dissecting things and drawing lines in like policies, you really have to be careful that that one thing you're saying does not cancel out something else. And so yeah, and I mean it's you know, I'm of the opinion that, you know, hey, either everything is okay or none of it is. But
I still see some reasons for some general guidelines, and sometimes people need to be explained. For example, what is considered adult or mature was a very large line for the longest time in what you have to tag it as. Because most furs, I would think, would have enough sense to report somebody that's posting obvious porn and they're putting it under a general audience rating. But where the line is drawn between adult material and mature material needed to be defined, and it has been.
It's a weird thing. I mean, especially when you have people that they'll do like massive re-uploads. I mean, because sometimes people move accounts, or maybe somebody is coming from another site and they're doing like a bulk re-upload. You know, like I've seen people do that to where I mean, you know, sometimes they're just moving stuff, and that happens.
And I have no problem with people that are moving accounts or they're making a separate account because of whatever they're doing. And the comment was always made in the main journal, and main Fender's journal, about how it's kind of hard to follow a comic series. Now, if anybody who's listening to this is an artist, please wants to prove me wrong, that's fine. But comics are really labor-intensive to draw, even if you're just doing a black and white pencil sketch.
Yes.
And you ink that. That's labor.
I am actually an artist, and they are a bitch.
So
it's one of those things where it can be difficult on the administrator end to kind of say what is and what isn't okay, but when you do run a site like this, you have to define those guidelines and make it perfectly clear what is okay and what is not okay.
I completely understand that, but here's what I particularly see. I have no problem with people uploading what they're doing every single day, especially if you're arting every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Some things can go into groups, like, you know, doodles or simple sketches or related photos or whatever, or you can link that off of site if you really wanted to. But I'm trying to figure out, why is it that people are really angry? Is it because we're getting limited the art to 10 submissions and 5 journals a day, or because of the amount? I would personally think because I use journals to communicate to people as my primary mode, because art takes time.
Yeah.
And I, of course, cannot afford to upload every single day because I'm not online every single day.
Yeah,
At least on FA. So, in my personal opinion, if these rates were just doubled, 20 submissions max, 10 journals max, because I don't think that most people would be so chatty online to post more than 10 journals. And actually, I'm trying to figure out if this favoritism is going to happen. That's just my
Is this per, just double check, is this per day, or?
This is per day, and the way it seems to be worded is it's a rolling clock. If you posted, let's say, 9 submissions and your last one was 8 p.m. of whatever your time zone is, you could not post 3 more or the third one out of 3 more until after that time at 9:01 the next p.m. the next day.
Wow.
Are people actually going to think about when's the last time I posted, or is this going to go by the site clock, in which there's going to be mass uploads the moment it strikes 12:01? I'm not sure how they're deciding to write this policy, but hopefully we don't see excess drama from these new site changes.
I mean, honestly, like, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm kind of standing on a balance beam between Weasel and FA, and it's like Fender threw a ball dead at my face. Because I'm a fursuiter, I'm a costume performer, I'm a stand-up comedian. When I get my fursuit, I recently got one commissioned, but when I get my fursuit, I'd like to upload some pictures of it, some pictures of me in fursuit, like in different situations and stuff. And like, say I get so many pictures, say I get like maybe, just for an example, standing around the edge at 11, okay, and I want to upload those. I upload those 11 photos, I get a warning, and I'm like, why? It just raises that question, why, really? Like, why over 10?
Because they have to have limits somewhere, and because supposedly there is a cap on posting too much art on FA these days.
Spam is bad. Spam is bad.
Honestly,
I don't think the site is that trafficky. I haven't seen it very trafficky to where that even needs to be instated.
To be honest, I don't look at Fur Affinity that much anymore. I check to see if I have any notes, and then I get off.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm right there with you, Shaw.
Well, I have to use the site for what I do because I am social, and I do talk to people about my art and all that, although most of my art has gone to my personal blog.
Yeah, that's like me. I use my DeviantArt more than my my FA, and then I use Facebook for DeviantArt. So
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, I know some people, they'll just put shit on Tumblr if they feel like it these days. It's
Tumblr has kind of become the everything site.
mm-hmm.
You can upload GIFs, pictures, videos. I think videos, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sites where you can share interesting photos, but it just seems more like the Facebook of the art world.
Yeah.
There is no actual good conversations going on. It's like, oh, take a look at this. It's something that I saw. You look at it and the conversation's done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things of, I guess, in essence, it may come down to just depending on personal opinion of, does FA suit your needs as is? If not, unfortunately, you may have to go somewhere else. If it
Weasel.
does, yeah,
Weasel. Yes.
if FA is, is doing right by you, then hey, you're more than welcome to use it. So yeah, I mean, there is a thing, there's something to be said to where, like, it might be handled on a case-by-case basis, for some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree that it is bullshit that any kind of favoritism gets played. It's like, if you're gonna make the guidelines, you make them apply to everyone with no exceptions.
Which is why I would think that if you're going to have no exceptions, you just make it balanced versus if you use the journals or you use the submissions. I would just be happy as an artist myself if there was 10 submissions and 10 photos per day. I could deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what happens within the next week of what these policy changes are. And hopefully, not a lot of drama will come following these policies changes.
Yeah, hopefully. So unless you got anything else, anybody else have something they want to bring up?
Potatoes. Yeah.
Master head.
I did have something and I forgot.
I thought Alchemo was going to be our little special guest
yeah,
here.
this is where he needs to get back in here.
That's easy to do.
Okay, get him in here.
Click call on him.
Can somebody else do it? Because
hang on.
If I have to do it, I can, but...
Yeah, it'd be easiest for you to do it because you're the host of the call.
Just a moment. Alright, a little bit of a short break there as we got our special guest Akanite back in here. As mentioned earlier by Shock, you may know him on YouTube as a fursuit dancer as Ghost, I believe, if I'm correct.
That is correct, but the actual name of my fursuit is actually named Rapez. It's not so much Ghost because, well, when I had to type in, when I was in the sign-ups for this competition, what happened was it wouldn't let me access the actual accent that that the E in his name actually has. So what happened was it ended up coming out some sort of gibberish jargon type of thing which they couldn't pronounce, so they just used my FA name versus what I actually typed.
Okay, sounds fair enough. Technical difficulties, name change, whatever. But as also mentioned to me, you were recently in the finals at the Anthrocon dance competition.
Yes, I was.
How'd that go?
Well, to be honest, it was actually a really, really fun experience. Like, meeting everybody who was in the finals, like, I had a good time backstage. But when it came time to actually performing my piece for the actual thing, there was a technical difficulty that went on. What happened was the actual song that I was actually meant to do didn't play until I found out afterwards, kind of going, oh crap, this isn't my song. This is my song. What do I do? So I panicked and I had to dance right through it.
Wow.
Damn, that is skill if you were still able to make it through the finals with a song you weren't even prepared for.
That's pretty boss,
No,
man.
it was completely freestyle. I didn't even know the song afterwards until a friend of mine who went by the name of Ben Chilla, he was the actual one who created the song, which I didn't notice at the time, which I'm kind of surprised I actually danced to the actual song.
I was gonna say, to me, that almost sounds like just fucking talent. Like, that you were able to pull off something like that, get into a finals for a song you didn't even know. Not to mention, of course, wearing a friggin' fursuit, which in itself could be difficult.
But as I said before, the song was not mine to begin with at all. What happened was, when I was backstage and here when I was, well, I will admit I kind of threw a bit of a diva tantrum back there, but the thing is that what happened was with the actual song itself, apparently the song was overlooked by accident because the actual DJ or person who was working the audio at that time was actually, he just basically copy-pasted everybody's song into Winamp, and I guess the song kind of skipped over or something like that from what the guy told me, which was kind of hilarious, but at the same time I'm just like, whoa, okay, so I don't know what happened.
I could actually tell you like who you can blame for that because I know a guy who was on the AV team.
So I'm going to say you fucked up.
Hey Akanite, only if they played mine.
Oh god.
You would have had so much fun. I had Talk Dirty and Wild Wild Love in my mix.
Way, that's awesome.
The actual song that I was meant to dance to was Commander by Kelly Rowland. I was going to do a full-on old school, old wave Vogue.
Everybody. You're so insane. We love you.
I was going to do the actual old school Vogue and also the old wave whacking routine to this actual song, but I was just like, I don't know what to do to this one. Okay, let's just go with what I got.
And for those who don't know what whacking is or any type of dance, you can easily YouTube it. And whacking is, I think, one of the easiest to learn. In my opinion, you just need to have.
Whacking is actually one of the more easy.
I'm diagnosed with Caucasian. Can I still do this dance?
Yes, you can.
Wow.
I am one and I can do dance.
Come on, Dax. I'm self-taught.
And
I almost made the AC final. I almost made it the AC final. So
if you're diagnosed with Caucasian, just get down with the sickness.
Oh yeah, I'm a Spurs fan. I have to do that.
Thank you. Good night.
So,
except when you look at when you actually do look at all these different types of dances and everything like that, each one has adopted its own form and into pretty much everything else. With whacking, though, I could actually say one thing. Whacking is kind of a believe it or not, if you know what the dance style called locking is it's an old school form of hip hop dancing that actually well, I forget where it originated from, but whacking is actually an extension of what, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, whacking is actually it's more or less of an exaggerated version of what locking is, because instead of using your wrists, which is technically what, or your wrists twirling or anything like that during locking, with whacking, it's basically the same thing, except you're using your whole entire arm, which is actually kind of cool, and I actually do like the dance for it.
I like the wobble. That one's pretty easy.
Yeah, something I've recently discovered thanks to Google is this. It is spelled whacking with 2 A's.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I googled it wrong.
Well, no, I typed it in with 1 A too, but then Google told me, nope, this is what you want.
Google is normal. Nope, this is what you want.
Thank you, Ohio Google.
Oh, the NSA. They're telling us what we want now.
See,
That's
if we
pretty bad coming from furry.
see, once we give up our privacy, the future's gonna be awesome.
Furries
What privacy?
will not give a fuck about that because privacy ain't a damn thing.
It's like we need pictures of everything.
Rumors of how with the Xbox One they spy on your homes and that.
We need
Yeah.
pictures of everything you were doing today. Will you comment?
Guys,
What do you like?
I am the product, you are the product.
But Akanite, so stuff that you've been doing.
Well, recently, as of right now, I'm actually,
Building.
Yes, I am currently building I'm currently building another fursuit. As soon as I got back home from AC, I kind of started planning out to build a new one, which is actually in the works right now.
I've gotta ask, as somebody who does this themselves, so you're making your own suits. I mean, obviously it is not cheap. It takes a great deal of time and effort. I wouldn't know where to begin if I wanted to even consider making a suit for myself, because the big things are, of course, the head, depending on how much or how little detail you want to put into these things.
I made a practice suit one time. I ended up actually rushing through it because I knew for a fact I would not have time to do it all because frickin' high school and everything else in the world. But what I ended up doing, I made a head in one day. I swear to God, I asked somebody, I took a selfie. Yes, I took a selfie with it on. And they said, how long did it take you? I said it took 1 day. I bought the supplies. It's just a base. It's not like the actual thing. I'm sure once if I ever finish it, which I about guarantee you I won't because I'm a lazy bastard. But if I ended up finishing it, it would look decent. It wouldn't look like frickin' clockwork or anything like that, but it would look decent.
Yeah.
So probably one of my questions, and I think am I wrong in thinking that the head is probably the heaviest thing that you have on?
Actually, I have to differ for fursuits. Actually, the body is the heaviest thing to deal with, even heavier than the head.
To be honest, though, it all depends on what you make your head out of. For an example, when I actually did wear Rapez, what happens is with Rapez, his whole entire head was basically the balaclava and foam base method. The reason why I actually did choose that method is because it's very light, it's very comfortable to wear, for one thing. But at the same time, though, when you actually are primarily what I did make Rapez for, he's actually my actual dancing suit. So the thing is, though, is that I made him so that way he's light to wear, he's not too much of a pain to take care of, which is why I did a little bit more. Research what kind of material would actually stretch a little bit more, and that's why I chose fleece for mine. Because it actually does stretch in. Oh god, that tail.
So for those of us who don't know, including myself, what is Rapez supposed to be?
Well, Rapez is actually supposed to be a sort of he's actually a raptor, believe it
I love dinosaurs. Tell me about your performance in Jurassic World.
or not. Well, I stomp and I eat people,
Do you eat Chris Pratt? I hope so.
Yes, I do.
Oh, cool. Spoiler alert.
But yeah, but really, it all depends on what your suit is made out of. That's basically what I'm talking about. Is like for an example, there was somebody, I forget who it was, but they were dancing with a resin head that was actually on. I actually had to ask them afterwards, is like, how do you dance with a resin head? Until I actually felt it,
That's
it
what I'm
was
thinking.
light. It was actually light as a feather, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is weird. This is really, really weird. Until I actually found out that his head was actually made out of fiberglass.
Ah,
That's
Yeah.
cool.
weird. So,
But
yeah, I'm sorry.
So,
oh, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I think like so, as you've established, like so so this character is a raptor. What was your approach with like the tail? Like because obviously, I mean, because that's obviously going to be the other thing that you have to worry about getting in the way when you're dancing in a suit. Is the tail going to be a problem?
That was actually one of my more bigger concerns because during the construction of this guy, I was like, okay, raptor tails are usually very, very pointy, for one thing. So I was actually kind of conflicted because I was like, I have no clue how I'm going to make this tail, for one thing, and I'm wondering, how am I actually going to attach this to my body, and how is it going to move, how is it going to flow, and everything like that? Because, for one thing, when I'm dancing and I do, like... So, basically, when I'm actually making this thing, I'm actually thinking to myself, kind of going, okay, how's it going to move? What am I going to make it out of? What's it going to be? Until I actually got just kind of a simple method of just using the entire tail. There is nothing inside. There's like no wire, no nothing. It's just quilter's batter with a foam block that's on the end. But the thing is, what I actually did, it's actually the mechanism on how it's actually held up. Well, it's not so much a mechanism. I just like to call it that because it's a little bit more fancy. Haha. So it's actually connected with with one of those slimmer belts, or like what you use for exercising in that. It's pretty much how it's attached. That's how it's able to get all the motions and everything like that. So during the video, from what I've seen, like where it spins like 360, yeah, there's no wire, no nothing in it.
That's, yeah, because it's kind of a marvel both from like an engineering perspective and, you know, again, for dancing, which is like, it's one thing, you have to dance with this thing on, but you're finding a way to make it work so you can incorporate it into what you do. So, yeah, that's pretty freaking genius.
Which is why there's going to be a little bit more engineering with this next suit that I'm making. I might as well spoil it right now. The next suit that I'm actually making is a black phoenix. So what happens is with this guy, I'm actually kind of using it to another phoenix that I did make before. Same style, same everything. He actually went by the name of Crodix. Now, with Crodix, there were a lot of mistakes that I made with that suit. According to some of the people, and I actually did dance with the suit on, according to some of the judges, all they just seen was like feathers flying everywhere. Like it was a cool, I'll tell you one thing. When I did make Crodix, he looked like a giant ghillie suit, pretty much.
Oh man!
So you just seen like a bunch of like cutout feathers like flapping and flowing in the wind and all this as my arms and legs are flailing about like a fangirl at an anime convention, which is what I can definitely describe it as. But what happens is they told me that it was a little too flowy for their liking, so I was a little bit bummed that I didn't didn't get that one year because of that. So with this one, it's actually going to be a little bit more form-fitting compared to the other one, but I'm still keeping the same style because they said, like, looking at it dance was actually visually captivating to them. So I want to keep it within that same prospect.
Well, that's good. You know, learn from your mistakes, and you can kind of improve, and hopefully you can tear it out the next time when you get to use this thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So to kind of wrap this up, any kind of future plans, like any appearances that you think you may or may be attending, or?
Well, Anthocon is definitely one of my more bigger ones, but unfortunately, I have college that's going to be. Well, I'm going to be going back to college, so unfortunately, there won't be any more convention time for me. So the only cons that I will be at are Anime North. That's going to be happening in Toronto next May, and Anthocon that will be coming up this July, hopefully, for what I've been hearing, because
Awesome.
I hear that they've been switching around the days for it.
Awesome. And of course, you have videos posted up on YouTube of some of your performances, correct?
That is correct. You could check out you could check out Crodix at Ferneural Equinox 2013 Dance Comp. He's number 3, and there was 2014 as of this year. He was at Ferneural Equinox again during the Dance Comp. He was number 13, I think. Yep.
Nice. If we have, we should be able to provide some links to the video, to those videos in the description of this podcast. So, anything else you want to bring up?
I have a question for him.
Sure.
I have a question. Okay. Does Rapez ever walk the dinosaur? Should he?
Yes.
I'm serious. He does?
Yeah. Yes, he does.
I'm gonna watch these videos immediately. I hope you know this. Okay.
Well, he very well should. As a matter of fact, I think that's like an unwritten law somewhere. If you have a dino suit, you have to walk the dinosaur. That's
mandatory.
Yes, it's always mandatory for them.
okay. Well, but hey, Akanite, it was really awesome to talk to you, and I'm sure all of us enjoyed, as well as our listeners enjoyed hearing what you had going on, as well as the ever-challenging process of dancing in a friggin' suit.
As fun as it is, it's a pain to dance in sometimes, but it's always fun just to get like people's immediate reactions, like especially just dancing in a suit, because it's like, how do you dance in that thing? What's going on? I don't understand. Yeah,
Imagine wearing your couch. Now try to dance in it.
That actually is a very accurate analogy.
That was that was from a video of the roach guy, Okokage. That was some
roach guy.
Yeah, get off me. It was something that he had mentioned in a panel he had with 2, where he was talking about furs in the media, and he kind of made this joke about how, the media has this misconception that, people get these suits so they can screw in them. And it's like, you want to screw in that thing. Good luck. Imagine wearing your couch. Now try to do it.
You wouldn't just need to cut a hole with scissors. You would need, like, hedge trimmers for that, too.
No.
So much fur.
Ridiculous because of heat exhaustion, I'm sure.
And I really don't want to take this conversation in that direction, so I think it's best for everybody. We call it a show right there. So, thank you folks for listening. Hopefully the next time we do one of these, Cord will friggin' be here. Yeah.
Good night, everybody!
And Akanite, as always, it was a pleasure having you here as our guest. And I'd also like to, and also thank these other people that I had joining us. And you can thank me for making this happen.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Woo!
Thank God for me. Yes, I've been Acharky, and it is time we wrap this up. See you folks on the next Fur's Greatest Podcast. Later!